she has over a decade of corporate experience in various areas, right from doing purely technical work to becoming an internal communications go-to person with everything else in between. And her purpose in life is three I's, which stand for inspire, influence, and impact. Let us learn more about three I's in the episode. And she lives her purpose through content and talks. Bhavana Rao has authored three books, and she's a two times TEDx speaker, a human centered thought leader, multipod, coach, and founder of LetMeListen.in. Very interesting. In today's episode, let's get Bhavana's insights on leadership and entrepreneurship. This is the Guiding Voice podcast series, TGV, for a better future. This podcast is to help professional students, IT employees, and entrepreneurs to shape their careers. So, folks, in case if you have not rated and reviewed our podcast, request you to provide your rating and leave a candid review because every rating and review will motivate us to bring in more and more useful content to you. This is your host Naveen Samala, and I have about 18 years of rich and diverse experience in the IT industry. In every episode, we interact with industry experts or thought leaders or academicians or coaches across the globe to drive some insightful conversations that will help each one of you learn some amazing stuff. Also, we share an interesting trivia or a fun fact towards the end. And you'll acquire more knowledge per every minute by tuning into TGV than any other podcast in this space. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, folks, today we are going to discuss a topic entrepreneur as a leader. And we are pleased to have Bhavna part of TGV's journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. Bhavna, I'm really proud to have you part of TGV and welcome to TGV.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Naveen. And I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy that you gave me an opportunity to speak at this platform where the guiding voice itself makes a lot of sense because people all definitely need that at every stage of life. Thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure.
Likewise. And Bhavna, let's kick off our conversation. Maybe let's start with your career journey and top three things that have helped you so far.
Okay, so I started off way back in 2008 as a Java developer. And I come from industrial engineering and management background and had no clue about coding or anything of that sort. And yet, it didn't take me too long for me to get adjusted to that atmosphere or that way of learning. And then I consciously shifted from there to various other fields, from process management to improvement to being an evangelist for org change, trainings, to project management. And while being a project manager, I've done various things like even global campaigns for the global leadership and internal communications to wellness and whatnot. So it's been a diverse, you can say a range of things that have come to me. I wouldn't say that I have done it because it's come to me, and thankfully I have been able to acknowledge that, and I have been able to take it in my stride, and I've been able to put in the best that I know into it. So that's how my journey has shaped up. In between, there have been lots of certifications and coaching and mentoring as well during my career break period. And when you ask about the top three things that have actually shaped me or the entire journey, the biggest things that have really shaped my entire life and not just the corporate career that I have is to take things as they come by. Get into the flow. Anything that comes to you has its own purpose and meaning. And when it comes to you, you know that it has come to you only because you can handle it. So taking things as they come by has made me probably have diverse. The journey is actually from one corner to the other. So that's how it is. Then the second thing, probably it's my ability to bounce back. So I would say debacles are maybe certain things that have really helped me along the way. So my resilient power is something that has really helped me come out of difficult situations in life. Third thing being, I'm highly optimistic, sometimes even to a fault. So when that kind of an optimism is present, and I'm thankful for that fire in me, when that happens, right, you know that you can tackle anything, and tomorrow is anyway going to be a better day than today. So these are the things that have kept me going.
I'm getting charged up. And when you started sharing each of the top three things, right? And let me talk about some of the commonalities. Even I started as a Java engineer. Of course, I come from computer science background. And in fact, I also am still part of the process and change management. I serve as a global continuous improvement, and I served as a project manager. And I was part of wellness initiatives. I think a lot of coincidences. And I see that you are really passionate about various opportunities that are coming your way. And one important thing which I like the most is being optimistic, like, because if we believe in certain things, okay, this is going to come in our way because of certain purpose, and definitely that is going to take us to a next level. So this has been enchanting conversation. So let me move on to my next question, Bhavna. I was going through your LinkedIn profile and found this interesting stuff. 3 I principles, which I mentioned in the intro as well, like inspire, influence, and impact. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
Sure thing, it'll be my pleasure. So, I'm a person who's basically driven by instinct and intuition. So, one lazy afternoon, there were certain things that came to my mind, and I know it was probably not my mind, it was my heart speaking. And that was about my venture. Let me listen. The 3 I's that came to me became a part of the larger vision that I have for things that I do. Okay. One is inspire, influence, and impact. Why these 3 I's? Because you always find inspiration in anything and everything that's around you. From nature, probably is the biggest inspiration that all of us can find. People and everybody, the opportunities and the situations also provide a lot of inspiration to us. And they always have an influence on us. And we are always influenced by certain people, and we resonate with certain ideas and changes. And the next thing is, whenever there is an inspiration which is right, and you are getting influenced by that, you are in a way creating a larger impact on people who are around you and for yourself as well. Right. So that is how these 3 I's came into being. And with these 3 I's, I extrapolated that into 3 C's. So these 3 I's are more a brainchild. The 3 I's are more action minded, which is connect with the right minded, right hearted people, collaborate with them for the best, because not everything can be done by a single person. You collaborate with the right set of people to put the ball in motion and create a bigger impact. Then the third thing is create it. So the action, the thought, if it is only a thought, then it has no meaning. The thought should relate to an action. So that's how the 3 I's are related to the 3 C's, and that's how it came into being.
Wow. Very nice. And again, this also resonates with our concept of hosting the state circles meetings and all. In fact, after we started podcasting, we got a lot of opportunities. Like, I've been very active on LinkedIn, and ever since this podcasting journey started, and I happened to attend one of the TED Circles meetings hosted by one of my contacts, and I found it very interesting. Then later on, I did some research and started doing my own TED Circles meetings and all. And as of today, we have 80-member group, and implementing these 3 C's to the core, like, because we all of us are connected with right-minded people, and in fact we have been collaborating and sharing right opportunities with each other. Like, if somebody has a pro bono consulting opportunity, we share, and we are creating a larger impact. I think I can relate to that. And yeah, this is very profound thoughts. 3 I's and 3 C's. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now let's talk about the core of today's topic, right? What is the importance of leadership qualities in an entrepreneur? Because I'll tell you, like, now there is a lot of scope for somebody who has ideas and who have that particular rigor of execution and all. They have immense opportunities to flourish, but not everybody that has an idea will become an entrepreneur. Right. So in that sense, how do you think these leadership qualities are going to help an entrepreneur?
That's a very wonderful question and very provoking at that, Naveen. See, the way I view entrepreneurship is about, solving individual or team or the societal problems at large. You're providing a solution to things that are entangled. You're detangling, right? So that for me is entrepreneurship, wherein you're more giving. You're providing solutions. You're providing help. You're providing support in whatever way you can, and you're not. Of course, the effort needs to be acknowledged, and you need to get something out of that. There should always be an ROI for the kind of time and effort and energy that you put in. And yet, the mindset that an entrepreneur enters the scene is about giving. It's more about giving than the ROI part. That's how I see it. And when you're talking about the leadership qualities that an entrepreneur probably needs to have, or how do we differentiate between the two, we do see a lot of corporate leaders who are probably in certain positions because of their years of experience, or maybe coupled with their skill set, their ways of working, and they have grown up to the top, right? But not all of them probably have the kind of qualities that you look forward in a leader, right? To give you an example, how a leader can exhibit the leadership qualities, and you can even act as an entrepreneur within a corporate scenario. You need not start something on your own to become an entrepreneur. You can have the kind of mindset within a corporate scenario and still be called or work as an entrepreneur. So when you are in a particular position of authority, and you know that there are people who are dependent on your decisions, be giving there as well. Be caring, be understanding, be kind, understand their perspective, go that extra mile, and learn what their needs are. The moment you do that, you are working as a leader, you are working as an entrepreneur, and not just out of power and authority where you know that only the deadlines have to be met and nothing else cares or matters to me. So that's how I see that both are intertwined, both need to go hand in hand wherever you are. It's not about you having your own business or you being an employee at some place. You can exhibit your entrepreneur or leader skills anywhere. That's how I see it.
Wow, very nice. So mainly it's all about giving, right? And being empathetic and displaying that human nature of it, irrespective of whether you want to accomplish a task and all. And one main important point that resonated with me is solving a societal problem. Because if we look at any other successful entrepreneurs, right, they picked up something which is existing as a problem and they try to provide a solution. Thank you for explaining so clearly. Now let's talk about an entrepreneur who inspired you with his or her leadership qualities, if you want to share with our audience.
There's not one, there are three to start off with. And all three belong to the same family, the
Oh,
Tatas. Okay, right from JN Tata to JRD Tata to Ratan Tata now. And I truly respect and believe in their ways of working, which has kept me going probably right from my high school days. And I have been really, really inspired by their ethical business sense and integrity, which goes far beyond what anybody can describe. And one serious thing that has stuck with me ever since I read a particular book called Beyond the Last Blue Mountain. It is about J.R.D. Tata. Is about the way he, it seems, would answer every single. There was no email at that point in time, right? There was only postcard or letters. So he had this habit of answering every single one of them. And you can imagine, we probably complain of not having time or not being able to make time, and he running a huge business uh, entity, and he making time to not leave a single letter unanswered. That goes a long way about the kind of connect he wanted to have with people, who he wanted to actually serve them. I mean, that's exactly what it means, right? You don't leave anyone unheard, and people want to be heard. That's one of the biggest things that I can say.
wow. I completely resonate with you. In fact, their humbleness, right? Especially Ratan Tata, there have been many stories about the way he is going to interact even with the employee at the ground level, right? And the kind of demeanor that he is going to display, right? That is so inspirational. All right. So thank you for sharing those. And now let's talk about the first-time entrepreneurs. Like, how should they start building their teams? Because today, if you are talking about entrepreneurship, somebody even at the age of 16 are venturing into their own startup space. Likewise, since the opportunities are abundant, anybody can become an entrepreneur. Like, what would be your take on how should they build their teams?
For one, I always feel that some bit of experience probably is required to understand what life is all about and what is the problem that you're trying to solve. And yet there are certain people who are, it's a very, very fast age, and the generations that are Gen Z, which is there at the moment right now, they are faster than you can imagine them to be. And probably they already have an idea which can solve a particular problem within a person or a team, organization, or maybe the nation or society at large. Right? So they probably have that, and we must give them a platform where they can exhibit themselves. And all said and done, an idea is an idea, and idea when it comes into fruition, you will know whether it's working or not. And it's a great thing that I really like it that they're starting off very early. I would always suggest that have lofty ideas, dream about anything under the sun, take small steps to reach there, take calculated risks wherever you can, go with the flow. Listen to your heart when you're taking bigger decisions, listen to your mind when you're making the smaller decisions. Have your logical thought, yes, but go with your heart. You always know that it's right.
Very profound tips. Go with your heart for bigger decisions and go with your mind for smaller decisions. So profound. All right, now let's talk about again leadership in terms of how the entrepreneurial leadership is different from corporate leadership.
Again, yeah. So entrepreneurial leadership is definitely different because you're not bound by a lot of different restrictions, and you have the space to play around the way you want. Right? There's more flexibility as I see it. And in corporate leadership, you know that more often than not, you can't exercise a lot of things that you want the way you want it, because you're bound by certain restrictions and norms and regulations, which I'm not saying it's right or not. It's just that this is how it functions, and this is how the entrepreneurial venture functions. And when you are trying to bring in bigger change and more massive transformational change into the society, then it's more or less with an entrepreneurial mindset that you can do even when you are at a corporate environment. So the entrepreneurial mindset comes with more flexibility, more resilience, more risk taking ability, and more collected and connected sense than a corporate leadership where it's more on an authoritative role, or maybe even encompassing the masses, but all within a particular vertical, or within a particular chunk or a box. More often than not, you don't have an ability to shift departments and exercise your opinion, right? So that's what I see.
Oh, yeah, very insightful, Bhavana. And this conversation has been fantastic. And maybe we'll have to spice the episode. I'm going to kick off the rapid fire questions. Probably you can answer them in very briefly, like 1 or 2 words or maximum one phrase. In case if you are okay, let's get started. Perfect. Let me fire the first bullet out of the rapid fire. So, Bhavana, given a chance to time travel, would you go back to past or cruise into the future?
Future.
Okay, great. Moving on. What would you do if you win a $1 million lottery?
That's a lot. Save some, enjoy some, travel, and spend some on people who are needy.
Wonderful. All right. Let's move on to the next one. What is the random skill that you would like to learn, Bhavana?
Photoshop, maybe.
Okay. All right. So let me fire the next bullet. What has been a question on your mind for which you never got an answer so far?
Free will or destiny?
I think free will is working, and along if I go by our conversation, free will is working for you, right? All right.
Both, I would say. But I
Okay.
don't know. That's something that's
No, free will might be leading you to the destiny.
you have a point there. Yeah.
All right. So, what is one message that you like to share with your own younger version?
Mm. You did well. I'm really proud of you. You've taken things on, head on, and I'm really proud of that.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Okay, let me fire the last bullet out of the rapid fire. What is the most funniest moment in your life so far?
Okay. I have a good sense of humor, but then I'm the one who is very clumsy. You should actually ask the people in my friends and family circle. They have more. I mean, they will be able to answer this question more because they have funny moments because of me.
Quite interesting. All right, so that was a fabulous rapid fire. With that, let me flip back to the mainstream, Bhavna.
Mhm.
and ask you one final question for this conversation. What will be your one piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers?
Chalk it out. Write your short term plans and your long term plans. And what is it that you have at the moment to reach there? What is it that you don't have that you can inculcate or learn or invest on to reach where you want to be? And unless you have short term and long term plans, it's very difficult to make things meet.
That's awesome. All right. So, Bhavna, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us today.
It was completely my pleasure, Naveen, and I really enjoyed the questions and having a conversation with you. I hope this resonates with people who are listening to the guiding voice. I'm sure it is a guiding voice to everybody out there. Thank you.
Thank you again, and thanks for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. And we have a long way to go. Pleasure having you on board.
My pleasure entirely. Thank you.
All right. So, folks, before we move into the trivia section, here is a request to all of you. In case if you have loved this episode just like I did, request you to share with at least three of your friends and colleagues who can benefit from TGV. Because the more you share, the wider we reach and we'll get closer to our mission of reaching millions across the globe. Thank you so much in advance. With that, let's cruise into the trivia segment of today's episode. And today we spoke about entrepreneurial leadership and all, and probably I'll have to talk something about this entrepreneurial leadership. Many people have that fire in their belly saying that I want to start my own venture, and they start with a lot of energy. But there will be one point in time, especially a year after you get into your own venture, wherein people think, okay, it is better getting stuck by lightning than achieving dream of overnight success. That's how difficult things get. Of course, I'm sure most of you might resonate this, and in case if you have come across any similar stories, I would like to hear from you. Please feel free to provide your comments on our social media platforms, and in case if you're watching it on YouTube, we would love to see your comments. And thank you so much for tuning in. That's all for today. There is more in store, folks. Stay tuned. Until next time, bye bye. We're signing off for today. See you all in the next episode with another wonderful guest and cover another fantastic topic.